Thank you very much. A couple of questions about South Africa and also, if you don't mind. In South Africa, the State Department is empowered legally with deciding when a genocide exists. Has there been an investigation that supports any such contention? Because there is no credible evidence from any authority on the ground there, in their government, in NGOs, or elsewhere that we can find to support an allegation of genocide, that white farmers are at all as disadvantaged as the crime wave there that is a problem against blacks in much greater numbers, and proportionally even in greater numbers than whites. The fact checkers have shown that the white crosses were put up as a protest against the criminal movement and against the death of the farmers. The crosses and the burial were all part of a protest against the criminality, not as described. So what information was given to the White House, if any, by the State Department, by the experts in the field, to support what was described as an ambush widely around the world of a South African visitor who had a celebrated background as a leader of a biracial government and someone who was jailed with Mandela and who has been one of the civic leaders of a new South Africa, as troubled as their history has been and as troubled as their current situation is?
Well, I would say that, as we all knew, of course, the president has been very vocal about his concern about the violence, the nature of what's been transpiring in South Africa. The president did not come to the United States of America unaware of the position and the posture of the president and of the Secretary of State and of his administration. So I would argue against very much that there was some kind of an ambush. South Africa also has been facing a dynamic where there's been regular criticism, ranging from not just the collapse in some ways when it comes to the violence in civil society, but then the referral of Israel with the ICJ for the issues of genocide while ignoring Hamas, cozying up to Iran, the general choices that they've made. In the meantime, also, of passing a law that has allowed them to take property, to possess property of white Afrikaner farmers with no reason. One element is equity. And so when you're passing laws like that target a group, ostensibly sending a message to the population that these people have a price to pay, there's something that they need to be doing, that they deserve to have their land taken, combined with the chance of kill the Boer, the massive rallies where encouragement of violence is prevalent and is at the core of it, in addition to the associations South Africa and its president have chosen to make, like with Iran and their actions against Israel. It creates a picture that is worthwhile having a conversation in the Oval Office. And that is, I think, it is the transparency of the president, certainly both leaders aware of what the concerns have been and what the arguments have been. So I don't think President Ramaphosa was somehow surprised or shocked at the fact that we have an honest man who's in the White House who's spoken and continued to speak about violence and the trajectory of South Africa.
Well, what I'm just suggesting is that the facts matter with the credibility of the president, and that as it was explained in the Oval Office, and it has been explained elsewhere, that is a minority party, a protest party that is legally permissible, but that the white agricultural minister said in the Oval Office, that's why we joined the coalition, to make sure that they didn't get into the parliament, that they don't have power. They've been,
in the nature of the weeds of something like that, where that individual, you saw also the larger video of the thousands and thousands of individuals in a stadium framework. And I think that what Americans in the world and what South Africans see is a movement and an attitude that is not only not punished, but reinforced, but Andrea, reinforced with a law that says, oh, those people that you're calling to be killed, yeah, let's take their land. Who does that? Who does that in the midst of that environment And I think that when we think about, I'm not certainly going to get ahead of the president. President Trump is someone that the world knows, says what he thinks and acts on what he thinks. But I think that it was very clear, and he's been clear, as has the secretary, about the problems with South Africa, the nature of the signals it sends, the quality or lack thereof of life, the fact that we have taken in refugees, very basic standard of looking for asylum. They've met that standard, and it's more than just complaining. It is about acting and finding an element where we can make a difference for those people.
Taking of the land, first of all, it's with judicial review when it has happened. It's not.
Now, let me correct you right there, Andrea, and then I'm going to move on. This particular law they tout has not even been implemented yet.
That's correct.
So it's not about judicial review. The law, if you have a judicial review of a law that says there is no standard, well, then you'll have judicial review of no standard.
But they have not taken the land.
But this, and it is in part, I would argue, because of the global attention that has been placed on them because of President Donald Trump's attitude, his comments, and bringing attention to that framework in general. That is why that hasn't been acted on. And we'll move on.
No,
but I think I've been clear. Yes, Matt, I think you have probably something to say.
Tammy, let me just...
Andrea, you've had 4 questions. I've answered them. You've asked in depth. We are going to move on. Yes, sir. I'm sure others might have the same sort of question.
Thanks.